What's up, everybody? Welcome to today's Trauma to Triumph training. Something I originally developed to make trauma-informed care mandatory for teachers, educators, coaches, guidance counselors, foster parents, and after-school professionals. But when I thought about it, I had interactions with people outside of these environments that could have also recognized my trauma and helped better support me. I feel like the more people who are knowledgeable about the topic, the better chance we stand at making a difference. After all, if you take anything from this message, I want you to understand that we are one. We are the world. A lot of you might be thinking, I don't know any kids experiencing trauma, so why does this apply to me? But truth is, you might be the one person that has the knowledge, that has the tools after this training to impact a random child that you encounter's life. You might see them in a way that nobody else has saw them before after feeling invisible for so long. We are the world. And as a people, our duty is not just to ourselves, but of the world. So thank you for showing up today, and let's get into it. In my last video, I made it clear why this training was important to me. Today, I have some facts and statistics on why this is necessary, regardless of my opinion. So let's get into it. Why trauma-informed training is essential. You may not know this, but research indicates that a significant amount of students will encounter trauma before they reach adulthood. 1 in 4 children will experience trauma in the household before they become adults. This and the impact of these experiences can be far-reaching, often resulting in many challenges, such as academic struggles. Trauma can significantly hinder a child's ability to focus, regulate emotions, and engage in learning. Studies have shown that students who have experienced trauma are more likely to have lower academic performance and higher dropout rates. So not recognizing a kid with trauma, not being able to support a kid with trauma, we're already putting them up against the wall when it comes to excelling academically. For me, they didn't even consider me for community college. Because of the things I went through at home, I wasn't a great student. Not because I didn't want to be, but because I had so many distractions in the household. Number 2 is mental health concerns. Trauma is closely linked to increased rates of anxiety, depression, behavioral issues, as well as attempts on their own life, which can often go unaddressed in traditional education settings. Everybody knows that trauma leads to mental health issues. The extent of it, I think, goes untalked about. The next one is risk of incarceration, addiction, and homelessness. Without proper intervention, individuals who have experienced trauma are more vulnerable to issues such as substance abuse, criminal behavior, and homeless in their later life. It's sad, but it's true. I was homeless as a kid. I was homeless as an adult. I struggled with addiction, and I also fell to incarceration. If you watch my last video, I go more into detail about that. Studies estimate that children who experience trauma are more than twice likely to be involved in the criminal justice system as adults. So more than twice likely, a kid who experienced trauma is double the chance of ending up in jail or in the penitentiary because they're untreated trauma. Come on now. Suicide prevention is the next one. The effects of trauma are a leading risk for suicidal ideations and attempt, especially in teenagers. Trauma-informed approaches can help identify early signs of distress and intervene before these issues escalate. If we can intervene early, if these kids are surrounded by adults that see them, that have the tools, that have the knowledge, that have the education, we can change the trajectory of their future. I don't think you guys understand how powerful and important it is and how powerful and important you are for choosing to be here today. Next, we're going to talk about how this training can make a difference, how Trauma to Triumph can make a difference. Trauma to Triumph training is designed to provide professionals and people with the tools, knowledge, and strategies to better support students who have experienced trauma. Key outcomes of this training will include increased emotional regulation and coping skills amongst students, leading to improved academic performance and overall well-being. Reduction in behavioral incidents and disciplinary actions. As trauma-informed approaches can lead to more compassionate and effective responses to student needs. So instead of these kids getting put in the corner and sit to detention, they're going to have people around them that can lead with compassion and help them learn how to better manage and cope the things that they're going through. Hence, they'll get in trouble less. Better mental health outcomes. For students with increased identification of mental health concerns and greater access to necessary intervention, we'll be able to serve them and recommend better mental health care, whether that's a therapist, a psychologist, EDMR therapy, or maybe it's just talking to somebody that they trust. Being able to intervene early changes the whole trajectory of these children's mental health and how they develop mental health coping and regulation in the future. Increase community engagement. As trained professionals can more effectively engage families and community partners to provide holistic support for the students. So we get to come together as a community to come around these kids, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a coach, whether you're a parent, a foster parent, or an educator of some form, a gymnastic coach, whatever it may be. We can come together and take the term, it takes a village, and make it something literal, because it does take a village, and some of these kids are fighting this battle on their own. And then I know everybody likes to talk about the economy. So in addition to the statistics and the numbers, I'm gonna give you some information on how Trauma to Triumph training is going to benefit the economy. So the economic case for Trauma to Triumph training. In addition to the profound personal and social benefits implementing trauma-informed training can have, significant and long-term financial benefits to include reduce cost in the justice system. Studies have shown that children who have experienced trauma are more likely to engage in criminal justice system later in life. By addressing trauma early, we can help prevent costly incarcerations. And as you know, most people who enter the system never make it out. So why don't we do the best we can to make sure they never go there in the first place? Lower healthcare and social services costs. By addressing mental health needs proactively, we've reduced the need for emergency services, long-term care, and other interventions. If we're serving our kids while they're young, they're going to become more stable, more active, more leaders in their community. So we won't have to worry about pouring so much of our resources into their later adulthood life when they're going down the wrong path because they didn't get the care that they needed to begin with. Number 3, increase student retention and graduation rates, which that speaks for itself, but ultimately benefiting the local economy by creating more educated and productive workforce. So when you have these kids that have an education, they're going to be able to do better, more impactful jobs. Kids that don't get that graduation, look at me, right? I'm lucky that I made something outside of what statistics told me I would become, but not everybody has that will. If we can allow for these kids to get the best education possible by having the best support system possible, by having adults in their lives that are caring, but not just caring, but informed, care enough to learn, care enough to understand how trauma is affecting them, they're going to excel that much more. I've met so many impactful and beautiful, inspiring kids that also grew up in trauma like myself. And I wondered who or what they would be. They'd probably be the president of the United States of America if somebody saw them sooner, because they're already making great changes in their life when they didn't have the support that they needed. I am confident that implementing this into our school systems and just to our lives as a people, it will be a game changer, not just for the students, but for the community. This is all of our responsibilities. As a people, it is our job to show up for the youth. They say that the children are our future, but that is exactly true. And I know some of us come from these traumatic backgrounds and we didn't have the tools or the resources, and we thinking probably, well, look at me, I made it out. But did you? Did you really? Some of us made it out by the hair on our skin. And we have the ability to make a difference just by showing up once or twice a week, watching a 15-minute YouTube video, and being informed. Thank you for showing up for us today. And remember, you matter. What you do matters. how you show up matters.